Hey guys, I'm Davina Palazzo and welcome to A Well-Nourished Life, where I share simple, healthy recipes and wellness tips. Today we are going to be making a lamb kofta with a dairy-free tzatziki sauce and a quinoa tabbouleh. This is completely dairy-free, it's gluten-free, and it's just a really delicious Middle Eastern spread that you can share for lunch or dinner. So let's get to making it. So to start with the lamb kofta, you'll need a food processor. I already prepped all the ingredients out, and what you'll need is some ground lamb. I got this lamb from Capra Farms. It's a regenerative farm here in Texas. I love using their lamb because I just trust that it's good quality, they have humane practices, and also lamb is one of the more nutrient dense meats out of all of the meats. So love using this. Then we're gonna have some parsley, which I've already prepped out. This is about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of parsley that I've already minced out. Then we are going to be using 1 small red onion, and I've just cut it into quarts. Then we're gonna be using these spices. The main spice we're gonna be using is this shawarma blend, and it's basically just paprika, allspice, turmeric, rumi, cumin, garlic, cinnamon, onion, and ginger. This is gonna be the main spice and what's gonna make the most flavor in this kofta. Then we're gonna be also adding some more garlic powder, Ceylon cinnamon, more cumin, ground coriander, and just the littlest bit of cayenne pepper. And then of course, just some salt and pepper. Yeah, so what we're gonna start off with first is we're going to pulse the onion into the food processor. So we'll do that first and foremost. We'll just put that bad boy on there, and we just want it to like quick pulses. You don't want it to get too mushy or watery, which is why we do the pulsing. But you also want to avoid big chunks, which is why I'm moving it around. And then we'll go for another few pulses. Okay, see how that's looking. Beautiful. Yes, you want it looking like that. So that is perfect. I love prepping onions this way because it doesn't make me cry. I have such sensitive eyes, so I feel like onions are always making me cry. So I'm like, yes, thank God for the food processor. Okay, now we're going to just add the rest of our ingredients. I'm gonna add in the ground lamb. Thank you again, Capra Farms. You can really taste the difference in quality, I promise. And then we're gonna add in the parsley and then 2 teaspoons of the shawarma. This is the key player here. Do not skip out on the shawarma spice. Then we'll be adding the rest of the spices. The full measurements and recipes will be on the website, www.davinapalazzo.com. You can get a visual and get like the actual measurements of it, but again, I also really encourage just like taste your way through the recipes. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, some black pepper. Then we're going to round this up. Yeah, if I can get this on. I feel like food processors are always so tricky. Okay, so let's pulse it up. So it's all, just wanna make sure it's all mixed up. Okay, that looks good. We don't wanna over mix it. You wanna see that it's all been mixed and blended together, but not like overly mushy. So this is perfect. Cool. Okay, I'm just gonna transfer the kofta mix into a bowl so that we can get ready for making them into the little kofta logs. What kofta essentially is, they're just like Mediterranean meatballs. People like to sometimes cook them on skewers. I like to just cook it directly, just like make them into logs and then cook it off on a cast iron skillet, which we're about to do in a moment. That is what we're looking for right there. Now this is raw, you don't wanna eat this yet. I like putting gloves on because we're gonna be working with raw meat. Even though it's fine, you can also just use it with your bare hands. I just prefer it sometimes. It also helps to like, when you're using gloves, to have it not be so sticky. So, just gonna take a baking sheet and parchment paper. That. Then you start making the kofta. So I'm just gonna take about a handful at a time and then just making them into just tiny little logs like this. I find this process to be quite therapeutic. you can also put this onto skewers and barbecue them. If you are going to do that, just a fun tip, just make sure you soak your skewers so that they don't burn. I don't always like using my grill, so I just like find it easy for me to just fire this up on the cast iron skillet in the house. I went a long time without eating meat. When I started to reintroduce meat, lamb was one of the first meats that I introduced just because how much more nutrients it has. It has like a complete amino acid profile, and also with this kefta, all these herbs are really good for antifungal and your digestion. It's also just really delicious. I feel like Middle Eastern cuisine is like one of those things that people don't make that often, but when they do, everyone's like, wait, why? Like, this is so good. Like the flavors here. Okay, we're almost done here. Okay, so how many did we get? We got 16. Okay, cool. All right, let's start firing this up onto the cast iron. Okay, so now I'm just heating up this cast iron skillet to medium-high heat. Once I see that it's getting hot, then I'm gonna add in some avocado oil. We're not deep frying it, so just enough avocado oil to cover the surface. And again, as I've said in the past, always use avocado oil if you're working with high heats. Okay, now we got our beautiful little cute kefta logs. We're gonna be cooking them for about 6 to 8 minutes, about 2 minutes per side, so. Trying to make room for all of them. You want to make room, but you don't also want to overcrowd. Like, you don't want them really touching so that cook all evenly. Okay, we got this. This little guy fit right here. It's a bit snug, but we did it. We made it. 2 minutes on this side, and then I'm going to flip it over the completely opposite side and then do the other side. And the thing when you're working with cast iron skillets, sometimes you want to dance with the heat. Like right now, I know I have it on like a medium high. At some points, I'll probably start shifting it a little bit to like a medium just so that they don't burn, just depending on how some of them are doing. My stove is like a little bit crooked, so I have to move it around a bit. Even though cast iron itself will cook things pretty evenly in heat, that's why they're so good to cook with. But my stove, the place I live in is like 1930s, so it's like everything's just kind of a little bit shifted. Okay, cool. Just flipping it over to the other side. You can see it's like has gotten like a nice char. Now we're gonna do 2 minutes on this side. Ooh, you know, they can be quite delicate, so as I'm rolling them over, I'm trying not to break them. They're fragile. All right, so now we're doing 2 minutes on that side. Let it do its thing, playing with the heat. You can already smell all the spices, all the cumin, the coriander. I love it. Whenever I put these out for a catering event, these are always a fan favorite. I've even put these out for like a brunch where I've done lamb kofta and then did like a shakshuka, which, stay tuned, I'll show you how to make a shakshuka. They're an amazing brunch dish that you can make for a lot of people. It's so freaking easy. I'm gonna now flip it onto the side. As you see, they're starting to like take form. They get easier and easier to handle because they're cooking and starting to get a bit more firm. You know, people have asked me before, they're like, oh, can you cook this in the oven? And the answer is yes, you can, but I prefer cooking kefta on the stovetop or even meatballs on the stovetop because it maintains its tenderness and juiciness. They can easily dry out if you were to just throw them in the oven. So I always try to opt for straight on the stove or on the grill. Yeah, the reason why I'll often just have like cooked kefta on a brunch menu is because I also feel like brunch and breakfast is one of those constructs and that we don't need to just be eating things that we typically think are like necessary for brunch. I'm so tired of just like pancakes and waffles, even though, don't get me wrong, I do love a good waffle every now and then, but the household I grew up in, what we ate for breakfast is like what I ate for lunch and dinner as well. They always say like you want to start your days with much protein just to help keep you satiated throughout the day, keeps you more present and mentally clear and more energized. They all seem good, they all feel firm and cooked through. I'm gonna plate these up. Oops. All right, voila. You have your lamb kefta and packed with nutrients. It's a good source of iron and the B12s. It's just so delicious. I love lamb. I feel like people are always talking about chicken and steak. I was like, can we talk about lamb more, please? Okay, so now that we made the lamb kefta, we're gonna be making a dairy-free tzatziki sauce that's gonna go and pair so nicely to be topped off or dipped with the lamb kofta. And in order to make this dairy-free, I'm using Forager's plain unsweetened yogurt. It's a cashew-based yogurt. It still has all the probiotics in it, so it's good for your gut. And in order to make this more like a Greek yogurt, we are going to be adding some lemon to it, and it's gonna be like a tzatziki sauce is essentially like a cucumber yogurt sauce. So we'll be grating some yogurt onto it, adding herbs such as dill and mint, a little bit of garlic, black pepper, salt, and it's a very simple sauce and just adds a lot of flavor and a creaminess that just goes so well with kofta. Start off in our bowl. Gonna do, oh my God, it froze a little in my fridge. Oh my gosh, my fridge was extra cold, I guess, because it's a little frozen on top. So be careful of that. We don't want to be using froyo, that's for sure. Got about a cup. What? Yum. I love this yogurt. It's such a nice texture. Now we are going to be adding in lemon. It's gonna help bring the acidity. How this is traditionally made is with Greek yogurt. So if you do tolerate dairy, feel free to swap this out with Greek yogurt. Then we'll take half a cucumber, and then my favorite ingredient, a microplane. I have them in like different sizes. They're so useful. If you don't already have a microplane, please do yourself a favor, get a microplane. Okay, we're gonna grate half of a cucumber into this. Also, this is a good arm workout, so if you didn't get to the gym today, you know, you can always just grate some cucumber. Yes. And also be careful, because I've definitely nicked myself on a microplane before. So whenever you're using like microplanes or any mandolins, anything of those, if you're using anything sharp, really, like even a knife, you just always handle it with care. And with that note, I will just eat the rest of this. I mix that all up. Now, I'm gonna take 2 cloves of garlic, microplane that in there. That's what I love, this microplane. It makes working with garlic less annoying, to be honest. Save the fingertips. And also, because you know, garlic can be quite like spicy and intense for some people, so like microplaning it is a nice way to just have it like settle. People can subtly tolerate it. Okay, now we're gonna add in, doing about like a tablespoon of dill. Always wipe down your areas. So I'm gonna do dill, and then we'll do mint. Got all these beautiful herbs. Let's just do like, I'm gonna do a handful. I know it's like, I say a tablespoon, but again, you measure as you will. I love things extra herby. So for the dill, the stems are also welcome in it, but we're gonna just mince that up and add that in. Same thing goes with the mint. Make it rain in there. I like to just save a little bit of it just for extra garnish when we're gonna plate it up. Now, add in a few pinches of salt and black pepper. And now you have your tzatziki. And let's taste it and see if it needs a little more salt or anything like that, or more herbs. It's really good. I'm gonna just add a tiny bit more salt and more black pepper. That's why a lot of recipes, not even just mine, just say, you know, salt to taste, because everybody has their own preference with salt. I grew up in a Filipino household where it's a lot of salty dishes, so I end up like attracting clients that also like to be a little salty. Perfect, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna put this in a serving bowl. And you always, I know this seems like it's a lot of sauce, but you think like people are pretty saucy out there. So you always kind of want to make extra, and it's always nice to just have extra sauce on the side, because then you can just throw this in salads, or it pairs really nice with salmon. Okay, now we're gonna take more of that extra herbs, sprinkle that on. And then I'm just gonna get a little fancy and do some pomegranate to add some color and some crunch. Yeah. Another kind of drowning a bit, and then like to just like add some, just tear up some more mint, top it up in there, and then just some whole pieces of dill, and just make it pretty, because our food not only is meant to taste good, it's also meant to look good, because the digestion process starts with the eyes. And because again, I told you I'm a salty person, so just a tiny bit more flaky sea salt, top it off. Black pepper, and there you have it. You have dairy-free tzatziki sauce with a cashew-based yogurt. And I promise you, people can't tell the difference. I've served this, I didn't even tell people it was dairy-free, and everyone's like, this was really good tzatziki. This is the tzatziki. It's gonna go with the lamb kofta. Let's clear off a little. Okay. You gotta keep the space clean, yeah? And the space is clean, then your mind is clean, and the food just tastes better, and it's just more enjoyable to making it. We're gonna go into making the tabbouleh, and tabbouleh actually, typically it has gluten in it because it uses like bulgur. We're gonna make this gluten-free because not everybody eats gluten, so we're making this with quinoa. Luckily, I already have quinoa made. If you know that you make quinoa a lot, because quinoa is like packed with proteins and nutrients, so I don't typically like eat rice, even though I'm Filipino. I know. I'll eat rice here and there, but I don't like to have that be a staple on my day-to-day, like throughout the week. I use things like rice, which can be higher glycemic and spike your blood sugar. Like I like to kind of save that for treats on the weekends, but throughout the week when I'm just trying to like eat well, but also eat well for my body, I like to just opt for things like quinoa. Okay, this is the bowl we're using for our tabbouleh. This is what we're gonna be tossing it with. And I got these cute little wooden, they're handmade. I got them, my friend got married in South Africa. So these are one of my favorite kinds of souvenirs, are ones where they're functional. They're not just something sitting on a table. Like it's like, okay, I use these all the time and I think about their wedding and I'm like, oh, cute. Okay, so we're infusing their wedding love into this tabbouleh. So what we'll need is, we'll need quinoa, we'll need a pint of tomatoes, which I got these organic tomatoes. Look how beautiful they are. And we'll also be needing lots of parsley. We'll have an entire cucumber and garlic. Oh, we'll also need olive oil and fresh squeezed lemons. I got my olive oil container. Again, got this from a friend. It reminds me of Shrek. I love it. Thank you, Kate. We're gonna start with the 1 cup of tabbouleh, just like popping that in there. Quinoa, it's the gift that keeps on giving. You make it once and it just continues to give. I'm having this bowl as compost because with this cucumber, we are going to cut the middle part off. And you know what? We're just gonna use this also half of the cucumber that we had for the tzatziki because, you know, no cucumbers left behind. Just cut those in half like that. My little compost bowl, and just start spooning out the seeds. The reason why we do this is because we just don't want this tabbouleh to be super watery. Cucumber's already watery as it is, so this is just to make it so it's not so soggy, because tabbouleh is one of those things you can let it sit in your fridge and just eat it all week long. It's one of those great things to meal prep. And as you're going to see, it's really easy to make. That's what I like about Middle Eastern. I like the cuisines that are just simple, and most recipes are simple. It's not a lot of ingredients. It's like we can name everything that's going in there. We know what a lemon is, we know what a cucumber is, and just throw it all together, but it's like simple and just adds so much flavor. We're gonna cut it like this, kind of like in 4s. Again, like that. Careful, don't chop your fingernails off. And do that for all of these. We don't want huge chunks of cucumber, although I know there are some like Mediterranean salads that are like that. But with this tabbouleh, we want them to be like diced, but not minced. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna put that in there. Okay, and I like to kind of keep everything. Put the cucumbers, and the cucumbers will have their own spot. So this will be where the cucumbers live. All right, and then now with the tomatoes, we're gonna have all these tomatoes, and you're probably like, wait, what? Have all of these tomatoes? That sounds like a lot of work. Beautiful, organic, heirloom cherry tomatoes. Just gonna rinse these off a bit. And then I'm gonna show you how we chop these all off. Okay, now that these tomatoes are nice and washed and I took all of the stems off of them, I'm gonna take 2 plates and take the flip them over so that they're like bottom to bottom. And you're gonna put the tomatoes on there. Okay, all right. It's even better than this because it's gonna save you time. So I'm gonna hold this down, and then with a really sharp knife, just gonna go in and cut these bad boys all the way through. Voila, now we have tomatoes. Making these that's where the tomatoes will live. Restaurants will do this a lot of times. They'll do it with plastic deli container lids. You can do it that way. I do have some, but not many people have that in their home. And I know, like microplastics, those are a thing. But if that's what you got, you could also use deli containers. We'll just keep doing that, and you're gonna kind of firmly, oops, there's some that did not make it through. You could still use it. It's gonna be nice and juicy. So, okay, now we're gonna want this to be extra dried. Then we're gonna do the parsley. I'm gonna just like try to not get so many of the stems off, but we want about like 2/3 cup. And I'm gonna just take some of the stems. Some people don't mind the stems. I'm not like the biggest fan of finding stems when I'm like chomping into any type of like Mediterranean salad or tabbouleh, so, okay. With this, we wanna kind of bunch them together, like bunch it up, and then just careful of the little fingertips. Okay, set that aside. Now we're gonna do mint. I'm gonna do a lot of mint. This is gonna be a super minty dish. Remove the stems. Something about like just picking fresh mint off the stems and just being able to smell it. It smells so nice. I love this. We'll crunch it up as we do with our parsley, and then finely minced. It doesn't have to be finely minced, but like, yeah, fine to roughly minced. And then take it to the other side and go the other way. Okay, set those aside. We're gonna toss the herbs in last, but what we're gonna do is take the lemons, the lemon juice. We're gonna squeeze that lemon all in here. Give it a bath in that delicious fresh squeezed lemon juice. That's what I love about this dish. It's like so bright. It's perfect for summer. Now take half a cup. So we'll do about half a cup. Okay, we're gonna just bathe it all in there. Toss this up. Oof. Gonna add our salt. Be generous, but not too generous. You know, I know I said I like salt. We don't want it too salty. Okay, and adding lots of black pepper. Just when you think you've had enough, you probably need more, to be honest. That is just not my opinion. But again, I said all these things you measure with your heart. Now we get to add the beautiful herbs into there. The mint and the parsley. And I'm gonna save the extra for when we garnish and serve it. Now let's try it. And try to get all the herbs and the cucumber. It's done. Yeah, that doesn't need anything else. That is perfect in all that it is. I'm gonna just transfer that over to our serving bowl. I was a designer before God called me into doing food, so I'm kind of particular about how they're served, because again, it's like I feel like our digestion process starts with our eyes. It's also in what container things are in. So even though this bowl is beautiful, don't get me wrong, love it, we're gonna have it even be nicer to kind of fit the whole theme of the Mediterranean spread that we're making. And there you have it. You have this beautiful Mediterranean spread with lamb kofta, a dairy-free tzatziki, and a quinoa tabbouleh. It's rich in iron, B12, good omega-3s, and just filled with so much flavorful spices and herbs that are also good for your immune health and digestion. So try out this recipe and enjoy it with friends. It's like nice and bright for a great summery day. All right, we have this beautiful spread. I'm gonna start designing out my plate. That's what I love about family style. Everyone, oops, sorry. I just spilled on it. It's okay, we're all gonna be eating the same thing here. So I'm just gonna take lamb kofta that I spilled quinoa tabbouleh on. These will be mine, claimed it. I'm gonna get the beautiful dairy-free tzatziki on there, and I wanna get some pomegranates on that. Yum. Now I've made this beautiful plate that's complete proteins, lots of veggies and colors. Just want to give thanks to the land and the hands. Another thank you to Capra Farms for the beautiful regenerative pasture-raised lamb. The way to go is always cooking the kofta on the stovetop or the grill, because these are, like I can tell, they're already nice and moist. So get some cucumber in there. And the sauce. Okay, itadakimasu. It's so good. So good, so simple to make. If you liked this recipe, you can follow along for the full recipe on www.divinabalazzo.com. If you liked what you see, there's gonna be more recipes and wellness tips along the way, so hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Love to hear what more you guys want, what you guys like, what you don't like, and let's just keep living a well-nourished life. All right, until next time, much love.